And last but not least, we'll hear from the Aspis team who received third place. Welcome, Vladimir.
Hello. First of all, thanks very much to our team for having us here and giving this opportunity to show our product to a lot of interesting users, potential users. And also thanks for the Cube chain for scholarship and support. We believe that this is very important right now when with current decline in crypto prices to support the builders. So let me show what we've built so far. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Okay, very nice. So we're building on-chain asset management toolkit for DAO funds and projects. So basically, this is the no-code platform where everyone can deploy their own on-chain DAO. There is DAOpad Launchpad for the created DAO and the governance platform where users can govern, create the proposals and submit on them, vote on them. So here's our team. So our team consists of 8 people. Our team combines top corporate and management consulting experience with high-level development track record, both for enterprise and startups. And here I'm with you, the CTO of the project. Personally had the experience with Kearney, McKinsey, Accenture. I also was participating in multiple crypto exchanges and won multiple state level. So what is Aspis and why we're building it? So during our experience with crypto market, we worked a lot with fundraising for startups and trust management and faced these trust management issues. If you look at the left side of the slide, you can see how things are mostly working right now. Current tools is very expensive, takes long time, and still doesn't prevent the main risks. Safety mechanisms are backward looking. That means that the legal system basically can punish the bad actor, but cannot prevent the fraud in the first place. So there are multiple red flags in current approach. The first one is, for example, if investors trust manager and transfer their funds directly are not using even the legal entities, he can lose access to the wallet. There is also risk of managers' misbehavior, rug pull, fund embezzlement, and stuff like that. Also, there are multiple inefficiencies like lack of transparency for the investors and mostly manual accounting. If we're covering the constitution of legal entity, opening the bank account, settling the legal issues, I mean, it's costly and basically don't prevent the fraud in the first place. So here we're now imagine that there is zero trust environment, that all the relationship between the managers and investor govern on chain. So there is like on chain investors agreement where funds are stored. Manager have partial access to these funds. He's not controlling the private keys. Everything is handled through the smart contract. So all the interactions happens from the manager's cabinet. I'll show you in a demo how we integrated our DAO with a Frame wallet, which is open source, basically MetaMask. And also investors can do what they want with the funds according to this investors on-chain agreement, and they're fully protected. Also, manager is interacting with the DEX protocols and DeFi protocols on the whitelisted basis. So if investors allow manager to do some swaps on certain pairs, he will be able to do so. If managers want to have like ad hoc transaction or to add more pairs, he launches the voting. So what is Aspis? Aspis basically platform consists of 3 main pillars. So it supports DAO creators and investors with a group of solutions. So first one is the DAO constructor, the second is Launchpad, and the third is DAO governance toolkit. I'll show you in a minute how it actually works. So why we choose the asset management market? Because we believe that this is the most problematic and the most valuable market segment. And also no common players or big competitors here in place. If we go comparing Aspis to main players in the industry, which is our competitors, which is Syndicate, XDAO, and Wheezy, we see that Syndicate doesn't have the on-chain governance mechanic, automated IR and accounting, and XDAO doesn't have such level of digitalization which we currently have, and Wheezy doesn't have the seamless no-code integration, and you still need to use command line or something like that to create your own DAO. So here we can see the business model. So we separated our clients to the three main groups. The first one is the small DAOs, which have less than 2 million under the management. The second is medium, and the third is large. They have different pain points, and we have different monetization models for each of them. We do believe that the adoption of DAOs will grow, since a lot of problems on the standard institutions are faced right now with the currencies, with the protectionist and the forex exchange control, which is implemented by the local governments. And we believe that the number of DAOs will growing, and the number of DAO toolings as well as adoption of Aspis will grow in the coming years. The main cases, the use cases for Aspis is a VC fund pools, like secure collective investment and DAO-to-DAO governance. The second one is DAX trading and DeFi portfolio managers. The third one is DAO startups. And the fourth one is the GameFi guilds. We actually signed already some of them who wait for our beta test launch. So regarding our roadmap, we won prizes for hackathons from the Polygon, like Cube Chain, Hobby you mentioned here, Ethanline, and BNB Chain. We already integrated the core of the project, which I will show you in a minute. And we're planning on expanding our development team and business development to onboard more DAO. Thanks for the attention for the presentation, and let's switch to the demo. So here we go to the Aspis platform, choose the right wallet, choose the right network, and for example, we create the DAO. Our process requires no code. So here we go. We specify the name of the DAO, the token name, description, some socials, and this is the only information stored in our backend. So here we use the subgraph for all other stuff. So these are actually the variables for the smart contract itself. So we specifying the LP agreement here, the fundraising target, duration of fundraising phase, fundraising start date, base currency to calculate the profit. Deposit, we put the deposit limits here, also tokens available for depositing, allow listed wallets for deposit. If you want to make your DAO private and, for example, do the KYC of all the members of your DAO, you can do it manually and add these wallets in the future. We also have the token lockup period to protect from the flash loans and flash arbitrage. The next goes the capital offboarding rules. With withdrawal windows, so that means that without the rage quit fine, you will be able to withdraw the capital, for example, here to every 2 days, every 13 days. So for example, you can make the every first 5 days of the quarter. The next comes the rage quit fine, which is payable if you want to leave the DAO outside these withdrawal windows. Next comes the transaction delay, which is the time goes between the transaction voting happens and the changes take the effect. That's for the protection from the CBIL attacks and from other hacks. This is the time needed for participants of the DAO to rage quit. Next, we specify the different fees. We have the entrance fees, the fund management fee, and performance fee. Performance fee paid from the profit made by the trader itself. This is for the asset management DAO. And the second one is fund management fee, which is payable on a daily basis, divided by all the participants, depends on their liquidity, which they have inside the DAO. And entrance fees for the VC kind of pool, where some people, for example, influencers, can have the access to the private sales or some closed deals, and people pay them to participate just in the deal. Also, there is like voting rules, which is quorum, minimum approval, voting duration, minimum shares of LP to trigger voting, which is pretty standard into the DAO to make all the decision transparent. Here we go next. We choose here only option right now available is that investment manager is performing transaction on behalf of the community. And we can also allow list wallets for the investments. So for example, we can outline here the certain trading pairs on Uniswap or ChainSwap or other exchanges and DeFi protocols. So, and here, these wallets are only wallets where manager will be able to withdraw the capital without the triggering the voting. Also, here's the ability to change the investment manager. So if the community members will decide to change the manager, a manager can leave this yes or no. And if he will choose yes, that means that a voting may be submitted to replace the investment manager with another one, and he will lose access to the capital, to the community capital. Let's move next. Here we set up the spending limits. So for example, we can restrict the manager is able to withdraw only like 10% monthly. So for the better control of the how capital being spent inside the DAO. And we also specify the initial price of LP token. And we try to deploy the DAO. Here we created the DAO. And this DAO will be available on this DAO Launchpad. So here the DAO we created. Here we can see the basic like funding target deposit limits. And if we want to explore it a little bit more, except the portfolio and fund managers, all the data stored synced from the subgraph, we can see basically the term sheet. This is like the logic behind the asset management DAO funds. When people are joining this DAO fund or like institutional fund, they assign certain agreements, and these agreements outline the rules of the interaction. Basically, this is all on-chain rules we specified on the creation of the DAO. So let's make a deposit. Here we made the deposit. As you can see, for example, we invested 50 USDC and we received 49.5 LP tokens of the DAO, which were minted only on deposit, and 0.5 LP tokens went to the manager as the commission for this particular DAO. So here we can see that we've submitted some liquidity into the DAO. So let's integrate this DAO with the Frame wallet, as I explained, and see how the manager is interacting with the DAO capital. We copy the smart contract address of this DAO, show the Frame, and adding Aspis DAO. Here we can supply it, click next, and right now you can see the DAO available here, and we will be able to, for example, on behalf of the DAO, swap onto the Uniswap. Let's do the swap. You see that we successfully made the swap of the wrapped Ethereum to the Uni tokens. And this with the same easiness, DAO manager will be able to connect to any DeFi protocol or the exchange and use their front-end interface. We do believe that the growing ecosystem of the decentralized exchanges, as well as more restriction from the legal perspective, will be put on the centralized exchanges. So one of the first use cases is the discretionary asset management, which is basically when the investor is supplying liquidity to the trader, trading on his behalf. And for example, centralized exchange becomes the intermediary, which don't allow the trader to get away with the capital of the investor and only use it into his deals. And we're doing the same, but on-chain. And we do believe that this is the only way how people will interact in the future without trusting their funds to centralized entities and only use the decentralized ecosystem. Here we can see that how voting works. So for example, we want to change the deposit limits of this DAO. So we create the proposal, vote on them, burn LPs. So here, basically all my presentation. Also, we can cover some use cases of the Aspis tokens we'll be launching into the future. So the first one, the holders of the Aspis tokens will be participating in the governance of the platform and Aspis Foundation. Also, they will be able to help treasury management and budgeting of the Aspis project itself. Backlog prioritization, we will be publishing all our development efforts open source, so people will decide and the users will decide which functions will be better to implement. They will be also to integrate customized DAO modules. So for example, any third-party developers will be able to submit their own code into the DAO ecosystem, and after their review of the main managers, they will be able for the DAO participants. And holders of Aspis tokens will get discounts on platform fees. Aspis will also have the revenue streams. So basically, we will collect regular fees from the users in base currencies, like subscription fees and fundraising fees from startups. The collected fees will be aggregated in Aspis Foundation, and there might be regular buybacks and rewards users for holding stake in Aspis, where this is work in process. So here you can see the high-level overview of how the whole token ecosystem will work. So Aspis investor creators and participants get tokens from the market. all majority of Aspis tokens will be locked in Aspis Foundation Reserve until the appointment of the manager to the Aspis Foundation. Aspis Foundation will help all the operation to rewards a staking pool, to the governance, to Aspis contributors pool, treasury, and reserve fund. So here are, I think, the main things I wanted to cover, and thank you again for this opportunity, and we'll be happy to answer your questions.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Vladimir, for your presentation. Lucas, did you have any questions to start us off? Yeah, perfect. Lucas said it's a very clear presentation, no questions. I felt the same way. It was actually a fantastic presentation, Vladimir. Perhaps a question that I had, which was probably a little bit different to what you spoke about, but I mean, did you want to chat a little bit more about the team and how you guys came up kind of with this idea?
Yeah. So basically, we have the background mostly in management consulting, and me personally, I had the internship into the investment banking. So basically, I was watching from the childhood, like all these youths talking a lot of different words like EBITDA and stuff like that. I was always wondering why it's so complicated and stuff like that. So, and then basically I was moving from the business, like from the oil and gas industry, from the supply chain to with my colleagues from finance industry, and also we started one of the first like crypto exchange back in the days in the local community, and we were growing with the industry growing. There were like introduction of IOs, different like IDOs, stuff like that. We opened the marketing agency working with multiple projects, and in the end we just faced that, okay, so here are a lot of inefficiencies in the market. So we faced this with our clients, with ourselves, when we were trying to fundraise for our previous companies. So we decided that this crypto IDO, ICO stuff is very cool because it's allow like a little to no control and allows the open to borderless streaming of the capital. So for example, you can create a company in India and then you can fundraise from all the world without like any restrictions or like different procedures. And this is actually mind-blowing. And we believe that the good way for our community, for our institution, and for humanity itself to grow better is to learn on each of these steps. So these ICOs and stuff were facing difficulties and inefficiencies, and we decided to address these inefficiencies one by one. And of course, our future will be open source, and we will still continue enhancing our product. But basically, we're try to aggregate the experience from more than like hundreds of years of corporate legislation and regulation into the smart contracts, and basically with the help of the guys from open law, even they don't know, for example, other services like Otoko and other stuff. We're still like learning on this regulation stuff and trying to make market more transparent, more competitive, and more fair.
Oh, perfect. Thanks, Vladimir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So that concludes our demo session for today. So thank you to all the teams and presenters for joining us today and contributing your times and efforts to today's demo session. And thank you to Lucas as well for joining us today and asking some fantastic questions. It was fantastic to hear from all of the teams and hear what you guys are building. And congratulations again on your success in the Huobi Incubator Web3 Hackathon.